Hey YouTube, Yu-Gi-Oh! Rocks97 coming at you with a Frogology video. This one is going to be Frog Monarchs versus March 2013 meta. I pretty much have cards signifying which decks I think are meta or really good right now in this stack, and I'll go through each one of them. As you can see, I'm kind of broke, so my representations are not always the best card in the deck, but they are part of the deck. And I'll just show cards from Frog Monarchs that either counter them or really help. So, first one, we got Mermails. Mermails, yeah, they can really OTK, and they're very plussy, and they just kind of work really fast. Now, the first thing to note about Mermails is that their biggest constant beater is 24, which is the same attack as a Monarch. This kind of produces problems for them and kind of makes it harder for them to get over Frog Monarch's consistent drop Monarch, just 24 beat stick. They have to go Big Eye, and then if they go Big Eye, there's cards like Econ, take their Big Eye, take what they stole back, and then their Big Eye's out of materials, and you swing for a lot. And Econ really screws up their plays. There's cards like Dark Dust Spirit to get rid of their big fields. And to stop their big pushes, you have cards like Battle Fader, Tragodia, and Gores. This deck has a lot of main decked outs that really screw up Mermail without actually trying to screw up Mermail. Like all of these cards you play without Mermails even being around. It just so happens that they work really well against Mermail. And then also you have the good old Light and Darkness Dragon, which is good against almost any matchup. And so pretty much sometimes when you summon Lad, Mermails don't have an out in negates. Like the only way they can do it is heavy infantry, because if they set up the chain right when they reveal Megalo, or I think maybe even Bistias, but I know Megalo, if you set the chain right, you can set heavy infantry to not be negated by Lad and then pop Lad, which is an easy out to it. But then you get something back from Grave. So the Frog Monarch matchup versus Mermail matchup, it's really hard to say if it's a good matchup, but I'd say it's a pretty even matchup. It's not really difficult for the deck to get around. In fact, sometimes I can't give either one of these decks the edge against each other, because really the Frog Monarchs has such an amazing main deck against Mermails, if you can see where I'm coming from. It's just the fact that Mermails are so fast, sometimes they can just outpace Frog Monarchs, which can be a real issue. Especially if, you know, you don't have a way to get to this. So, I mean, yeah, there's that. But that's pretty much it. So, I'd say this matchup is pretty even, if you hear my choices. Now, there's, gadgets. I'm solely talking about gadgets, not like Gear Gaia. Even though Gear Gaia is kind of good, I'm solely talking about gadgets. Now, gadgets are the plussiest deck in existence, and they have real easy access to rank 4s and can drop Fortress. Fortress is a real huge problem for Frog Monarchs, because he's 24, he can't run over the Fortress, and he can't target it either. Caius or Ryza, just against gadgets, can't really do anything. You can't banish a gadget with Caius, because what did that really accomplish? Your +1 isn't a plus, it's gaining back the plus they already got, so they can summon another one. The only way to really get rid of Fortresses easy is Econ, Soul Exchange, and Dark Dust. These are good against Fortress, but then they still have the problem with the gadgets. And then they just plus too much. Like, it really depends how your hands go and whether you get this card. But even then, sometimes it's easy for them to get around Lad too, like summon a gadget, Lad negates, pitch a gadget for Fortress, summon Fortress, swing over Lad. It's really easy for them to get around Lad, and just against this deck in general, I'd say gadgets are like a really hard matchup for Frog Monarchs, because just gadgets, playability, and not their speed, but just something that can out-advantage Frog Monarchs. To be able to out-advantage Frog Monarchs is an amazing achievement on its own. I'm playing gadgets at Nationals, I think, because they're really good, but I'd say gadgets have the favor against Frog Monarchs. You might want to, if you're playing Frog Monarchs, you're going to need to side against this matchup, because even though it's not a very popular deck right now, I say some people are playing it, but it's not as popular as all the other decks right now, that you don't really need to side against it, but if you're afraid of them like I am, I'm kind of afraid of them because they are a really hard matchup. You probably want to side for this. So I'm going to give like the edge to Gadgets on that one. And Rabbit, specifically Macro Rabbit. My build right now is maining a Mobius, which is really good against Rabbit. Since I'm maining it first game, it's really good against Rabbit. Just gets rid of the macros and obviously the problem cards. So Mobius is really good. Econ and Soul Exchange have always been lifesavers. I'm only playing 2 of these right now in the build I am running currently. I don't know if that's correct grammar, but yeah, these are really good against the Dolka, and this matchup's always been kind of hard since Dark Dust Spirit's never been the best against that deck. They go Logia, you set him, and you flip him up and you kill the Logia. But if they first turn macro, your swap's automatically dead, and that is not fun. It really depends how it opens, but I can't really give either of these decks the edge either. Even though Macro Rabbit is pretty much designed to hurt graveyard control, I've been playing against Macro Rabbit so much, and it's always been the 50-50 matchup, depending on how Frogs open. Not depending on how Rabbit opens, necessarily. I mean, if Rabbit opens normals, then Frog Monarchs are going to get it, but really more based on whether the Frog Monarchs open well enough to beat it. It runs 3 MSTs, my build runs a Mobius, Lads. It can all just be a real problem for Rabbit. So I can't give either of these the edge either. I'd say that Frog Monarchs are really don't have a horrible matchup. They just have, good matchups. Okay, except against Fire Fist. Fire Fists are pretty much normal summonable monsters. They attack and destroy monsters by battle, or inflict damage to search Tanky. Tanky searches another one, they exceed into Guy. Frog Monarchs have such a good matchup against this deck. I made a Mobius. Again, it's automatically really good against Fire Fists. Fire Fists, they have a lot of back row, and not really many of them are the good back row. There's a lot of Fire Formation cards. So Mobius really comes in handy. Lad is ridiculous against this deck. They really just have to bait their way through the Lad. Gorilla is already dead. Bear can pop a Monarch, and then a Gores or something is going to come out. And then you pop any big thing they have with this. I'd definitely give Frog Monarchs the edge against the Fire Fist matchup. It's never been a hard matchup. If you look at it logically, Frog Monarch has way too many just outs for Fire Fists to handle. So yeah, Frog Monarchs definitely just kind of, they destroy Fire Fist in my opinion. No offense to any Fire Fist player, obviously. This is the only thing I have to represent Prophecy, because I am that broke. Prophecy is a weird matchup. When Judgment comes out, I don't think really any deck will have an easy time standing up against it, except Elemental Dragons, because they cheat. Okay, Elemental Dragons cheat. I'm just throwing it out there. Every time I duel them on DN, the rape happens. But besides that fact, Caius is really good against Priestess, because it doesn't matter, Priestess is gonna, do some work for them, but if you Caius it, that is one Priestess gone. That is how I look at it, that is one Priestess gone. Lad is a real iffy card against them, because even though, if you open Lad and they don't have the Priestess, then Lad is gonna win you the game single-handedly right there. Lad is just that ridiculous. But the thing is, High Priestess is an effect, so if you have 3, you can reveal Priestess to summon, Lad will negate, and you can do it again and again, and it will infinitely negate Lad, which is just that horribleness that every Frog Monarch player fears, is some way to negate the Lad. However, I can't give the edge to either of these decks either until Judgment comes out. When Judgment comes out, Prophecy definitely has it. But as of right now, they're both pretty even. Another good deck, Dark Worlds. I'm not going to talk much about this, because nobody likes Dark Worlds. Caius can banish Grapha, that's good. Lad can really just kill them. Mobius is a great main decked out. But as many great outs as this deck has to Dark Worlds, if Dark Worlds open like Dark Worlds do, it really doesn't matter. They're going to discard all the good cards in your hand, set Mind Crushes, card destruction you, get plus 20, and then say go. Dark Worlds, you can't really compare them to the meta. I put them in here because it's a good deck. But you can't really compare them to them, because the only thing they really actually lose to is remove from play cards, Gemini Imps, and themselves. So, that's Dark World. And, you know, I just put Heroes. Don't even really have to show you anything. Heroes have a really bad matchup against... Not bad. I'd say it's close to even, but I think Frog Monarchs have it 60% to 40% on Heroes, because I've never really had a problem with Heroes with this deck, ever. So, yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you subscribe, I'll give you a cookie. I really won't give you a cookie, but, you know, maybe you'll subscribe if I say that. Anyway, yeah, this was that Frog Monarch versus March 2013 meta. Anything I missed or anything you don't agree with, you know, just leave in the comments, and I'll get to that. So anyway, this was Yu-Gi-Oh! Rex 97. Bye, YouTube.